the inspiration came from where we were growing up, the surroundings and the woods and everything. So
I think that's the reason why the album still is working, because it's like you said, it's quite mature to be done by 17-year-olds.
I was kind of tired of the whole scene, and we were very young when we recorded the album. This is what we do, and we're going to do it this way. And if we like it, then we play live. And it's after that, I mean, it's up to you guys. And of course, it matters if people like it or not. Of course. But it have to have this feeling for us.
So after a long and winding road, I am finally getting to welcome the gentleman from Vinterland to Into the Necrosphere for the first time. Welcome to the show, guys. Let's maybe kind of start with a backstory of why we never got to talk at Fortress Festival, because I was getting running updates on some of the pain and the misery that you were going through in trying to actually make it to the venue. But maybe you tell the story in your own words. What happened? Because it from what I could understand, it was like every terrible thing that a band could possibly experience in the run up to playing a show was happening.
It was like a typical Vinterland magic happening. It started out the day before we was going to fly out. We got the mail from SIS, the flight company, that said, "Oh, we have canceled your flight." So we didn't have any flights to Manchester at all. So in panic, we got flights, but it was
I really need to make a quick stop in, I don't know.
In Munich. We was from Munich and then to Manchester. So we go on that plane and land in Munich and run to the plane to Manchester and lands in Manchester. But our equipment is still in Munich. It started there. So we were in Manchester with no instruments.
And nothing. We had nothing. Okay. We checked in all our luggage. It was for free. So we thought, let's do it. But that was a mistake. So it was a good start.
Encouraging start.
Yeah.
And it was so far from the airport in Manchester to Scarborough. It was like 4 hours drive or something. So it was hard to get a taxi to take our instruments and drive them to Scarborough. I think we did borrow equipment because we didn't have any equipment. So on the line check, we was standing there with borrowed instruments. Our bass player is a lefty, so he had a right bass, but upside down with tape and stripes and things. And I was standing there with a Fender Stratocaster from hell, and you had a
actually, I wasn't like
so it was like, but this is so fucked up. But then I think it was 10 or 12 minutes before our intro was going to go on. The cab came with our instruments. So we
okay.
Yeah, so we rushed and
and grabbed everything and went up on stage, more or less,
So in the end, we performed with our own equipment, but it was this a really stressful time before the show. At least, say that. Yeah.
Well, I was watching you from the side of the stage, and knowing everything that had happened in the run up to that set, I was blown away, and I'm actually quite inspired by just how well you guys handled it. I mean, when the show started and you guys went into performance mode, it was. I mean, you guys were just in a zone. It was like nothing had hindered your progress previously.
Yeah. Okay.
Behind the scenes there was
a lot of
a lot of stress because we got so many different updates on when the taxi was supposed to arrive and things like that. But we I think we were so excited and happy to see our gear arriving, so I mean, we forgot about it. Yeah, but when we started, I think it went really quick until we just forgot everything and just continued playing.
I think it can be how chaotic before, but as soon as the intro goes on and you heard the intro,
switch mode.
switch mode automatically. For me, it's like that.
How satisfying was it for you, given everything that had happened, to know that I think it wasn't just me that mentioned it, but a lot of reviewers and a lot of people that had written articles about the festival specifically named Vinterland as one of the highlights of the weekend. I mean, certainly for me, you guys were.
Okay.
It must be a good feeling to know that even though you faced that level of adversity, you were able to come on stage and still, absolutely steal the show on a very busy and a very impressive lineup.
Yeah, but we had all the crew and people working at the festival was helping out as best as they could, and they did a really good job. So we kind of felt also that but these guys, they know what they're doing and they're helping out, and we're going to put it off. We're going to put it off, but yeah.
And I think a good thing is that we haven't been out touring for 20 years and we are not spoiled. It's like, oh, right, this is a stage. Oh, that's cool. Like that. So it would be worse if we have been on tour for 30 years and everything just loaded. We have never had good luck.
We never had that really smooth ride. Actually, it's a story of the band, I guess. Like I said, all of the crew and all the people working at the festival. I mean, they were really great. So yeah, it sure was. A lot of panic, but you kind of felt that they did everything to help you out as well. So I mean, then you have to switch mode, and we did. But it was a close. It was a close call. It was an amazing place. The venue was, really great as well. So
yeah,
and the audience and everything. So I mean, you have this energy back.
It was the best stage. To this date we have played actually. So
yeah,
my understanding is your first show when you came back was June 2011 at the Wave Gothic Treffenfest. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
Yes.
What was originally? Oh, sorry, you were going to say?
No. I mean, we just kind of strange, to play at Wave Gothic. I guess most of those metal dudes was kind of surprised why we did play there, because they're a typical Gothic festival, but they've been asking us for many years to play there, and we do listen to a lot of Gothic music, and that year also Fields and Nephilim also played. So we like that was probably the last push before let's because but. That was the first, I guess, gig in like many years.
Oh,
yeah.
What originally gave you the push, I guess, or the spark to decide that you guys were going to come back and you were going to start playing some shows together?
Now or then at the Wave Gothic? Then.
Then.
I don't know. It was you that was big. I think so. Because I had no idea, and you had called me and said, "Oh, how do you feel about?"
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I think we haven't seen each other for many years, and me and Andreas was playing, doing another project. I think it was The Black, and we met Pehr at the studio, and just told him that there's been a lot of interest in and playing, in everywhere around the world, but we have turned down every offer. I have turned down every offer, and because I didn't, it's still possible, and I wanted the whole band to be, performing. So when I spoke to Pehr for the first time in many years, you were, from the right start interested to do something. So
yeah. And since then, we have had contact.
Yeah.
Even that we were not so active for a couple of years there after the Wave Gothic. We did the thing in America.
Yeah, Maryland, definitely. So that's later.
That was a couple of years later.
So, but I don't really know what was the kind of the push, as you say, to do it. I think it was more like coincidence.
Yeah, coincidence. And I think when we put Vinterland on ice in 97,
96, 97.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think we weren't finished with it. It was like it just happened, but we was not. What do you say?
We weren't finished with it, and we told. I think we talked amongst ourselves. This time around, we have to rehearse and I mean, do we have what it takes?
Yeah.
Do we have the spark or the magic, or is the right feeling? Is it actually there? And I think obviously it is, but that also, I mean, what's the feeling that we want to do the winter? I want to do Vinterland justice and actually play live, because that was our main goal back then, I guess, before it all fell apart. So I mean, we're kind of overwhelmed that the interest for the band is still, is the way that it is. It's
I think it's actually bigger now than it was.
It's a lot bigger now.
In 96,
Yeah,
or then it was no internet or anything, so we didn't know what was happening or do anyone listen to our music. Now it's quite easy to see on Facebooks, and you get tagged hashtags everywhere and Vinterland. So it's, now okay, people want us to play. Okay, cool.
Yeah, but you still get surprised, that people even know about the band. I mean, every time, and it's really absurd when we now been out playing and people are traveling all over the world.
Yeah.
From America, from, I don't know, Colombia, Mexico, people just to come to see a show in Europe. And that's so absurd. And, but it's very flattering, of course, but very strange.
So this time, now the 30 years anniversary thing, we had much more pressure on us, because now we knew that people are out to see us.
Yeah.
Before it was like, maybe someone turns up, we don't know.
Yeah.
But now so we have rehearsed quite much and taken it very seriously to make it justice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why did you originally put the band on ice? Like you said, you used the phrase "it fell apart." Why? I mean, after a record like "Welcome My Last Chapter," which even at the time, I remember through observing the band through Nuclear Blast catalogs, Metal Maniacs magazines, there was a lot of love for that album. It felt like you guys could have been at the same level as a band like Dissection, had you continued, and that it just all of a sudden stopped. So why did it stop? What got you to a point where, as a band, you just decided, like, even though we've sort of got this momentum, we're gonna hit the brakes?
I don't know, really. In my world, it was like we did a couple of shows after the album, but it was like, and the scene was going. We didn't like the new bands and stuff that were coming out. And after 96, for me, black metal totally died. It was like, all right, but what's?
Yeah, I think the reason why we put it on ice, I think there was so many reasons actually, but one reason wasn't that we were, struggling internally in the band. It was more like, I was kind of tired of the whole scene. We had been waiting for, which felt forever, to the album to come out, and we were very young when we recorded the album. So I guess we got to this point when maybe we started to look around what's happening, what would you want to do, and for me, I think I went into the military actually.
Oh yeah, it was
right after, and I wanted to move to Stockholm to study art and design, and we have different plans, and so I mean, there were many reasons, but I was sick and less, I guess, not really, but the whole scene was going the wrong way for me, I think personally, the whole death black scene, and but we also didn't feel like this is the end. It was more like just put this on ice and let's see what's happening in the future.
Take a little break.
I take a small break of 30 years.
Yeah, just a couple of decades break.
Yeah.
What was it about? Oh, sorry, you were saying?
No. You can speak.
I was going to say, what was it about the scene that you thought was going in the wrong direction at the time?
For me, the album that came out was not good.
I mean, but it's so strange. It's kind of so. I mean, it's so long time ago, and I think it's since we more or less been listening to this kind of when we started to listen to this extreme form of death and black music when it arrived in the early 90s. I think to be a part of that journey in a way to see what's I think you get more and more bands and everything sounded the same, and commercially it went crazy. So I don't know. I think it was I never really thought about it nowadays, but
it's like today I don't listen to albums between like 97 and it's before 96. It released out good albums, really good. But can you mention something that came out?
Probably, but I don't know. But I was more interested in this Swedish record label called Meet Industry. There was some really interesting band coming up there, and I thought that for me was more interesting. And it was happening a lot of other cool stuff. But I thought I felt like this is not very interesting anymore. And I don't know what you, Andreas, you don't agree, maybe? Yeah, I agree. But we kind of grew apart. I mean, we were a three-piece all of the time. So I mean, if someone doesn't want to do it, because we always had that attitude that if someone doesn't want to do it, no one's going to do it. One of us is not going to continue, or if Pehr doesn't want to continue, me and Daniel would do this. It was naturally, I mean, yeah, if one doesn't want to do it, then no one's going to do it. Yeah, and we actually did play it together. Yeah, we did play it together, and yeah, but that also had the with the whole scene being what it was and becoming what it became, and what we liked and what we didn't like, and I mean, for you and me, at least, I mean, we tried out some heavier stuff, not as fast and less melodic and stuff like that. So I mean, it was a mix of everything, and also, of course, being young, and also growing up at the same place. I mean, we have been, together for so many years, and probably got tired of each other also, and yeah, but that's yeah, but it wasn't any bad blood at all. I mean, of course not, but as Andreas said, we were like kids when we started this, more or less, and we grew up on the countryside, outside, and straight into the woods. And I mean, maybe there was a point where we just wanted to do something else,
I think a lot of people that observe the black metal scene and to an extent the death metal scene in the 90s, I think they sometimes forget the degree to which a man changes between the age of 20 and 30. Like if I think about my life and my views on life, how I approach the world, and I think about the journey that I went on from the age of 20 to 30, I mean, you're a completely different person by the end of it. And there's no way that that's not going to have an impact on, if you're an artist, on what you are interested in artistically and what inspires and motivates you creatively. The part of the reason I also asked about what your thoughts on what was going wrong with the scene, because I agree. I think there there was a definite lull for at least 6 or 7 years in the scene around 90. It's kind of started around 96, 97. There were still some very good albums that came out, but you also had like a, to use a scientific term, like a pussy assness that crept into black metal, and it led to records like Dismal Euphony and things like that. No disrespect to them, but it was music that just didn't have the rebellion and the aggression, and that Morgan from Marduk called it the fist in the face of God. It lacked that, and because it lacked that, it just wasn't interesting anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we totally agree.
How did the three of you guys originally meet?
Bragman and me, we've been in same class in fourth. We were like
little kid,
13 years. We have been in the same class. And Andreas, you are two years younger than us.
Yeah. Yes, so we went to the same school.
Yeah,
I mean, a bunch of kids from the same school.
So we have been friends since we were really, really small.
Good.
And Andreas, you started to hang out with us in, how old was you? 14?
Yeah, 13, 14, something like that. I mean, it's a really small place, and if you spot someone with an Entombed shirt, it's like, okay, so we are friends because there's only us around listening to something like death metal and stuff like that, and growing up listening to all kinds of heavy metal music and stuff like that. So it was almost like you didn't get the chance to choose. It was like,
no.
Okay, so it's us.
Yeah.
It's us. We're against the whole guy.
And we got stuck with him because he was the only one that could play drums.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I didn't grow up in the smallest city, but I did grow up in a city where there weren't a lot of people that listened to metal, and you kind of get that you get to that place where when somebody walks past you, even if they've got a Metallica t-shirt on, you kind of give them that quiet nod. It's like, we're part of the same group. That's how, that 100%, that's how a lot of bands get formed. Who first came up with the idea between the three of you to actually start a band officially?
As I remember, it was, me and you in
my garage.
Yeah, but we kind of started to play. They had this kind of small rehearsal room in school.
Yeah.
That we can borrow kind of, instrument and try out to play. And I think that was the beginning, because the interest for the music was always there. And we always, had this, we knew we're gonna probably be playing in a band or something. But that's where we started out, like everyone doing covers and playing around, and but I think it was back in '92 when we really
we played.
It's because we started to actually do songs, and I still have some copies because we later on moved to your parents' garage, and we played a lot of.
Yeah, we were rehearsing in my parents' garage, and the neighbors thought we were tuning cars. Yeah. Oh, what are they doing? Are they working on cars? But no, and my mother was like, no, they are playing music. And then
so I think that was back in '92. That's when it all started, and I think the music back then was much more like heavier and more a bit more death metal stylish, because. But still, we still have this, these melodies and this acoustic guitar and synthesizers and some. And we actually recorded a demo back then, in '92, '93. That will be released pretty soon, actually. Yeah.
That demo, is it a Castle So Crystal Clear that you're going to be releasing? Or is it's Here I Belong?
Way before that. Yeah, way before that.
Okay. Yeah, because I saw on Metal Archives, I saw there's a release scheduled for you guys on September the 5th that Avant-Garde Music is putting out. Wings of Sorrow, It's Here I Belong, which that was off the second demo, correct?
Yeah,
We did.
we don't really know actually which one was the first, the second, or everything is kind of blurry back then because we have so many different cassettes and different recordings, and some of them were, half songs, and so
I think we did not release the demo ever.
not really.
We recorded songs and maybe did some copies and sent to a friend in Västerås or something like that. And all of a sudden it was like it became a demo, but it wasn't supposed to be a demo.
I don't. Yeah. But I think actually the first one we did.
Well, that's the most serious.
Yeah, it was back in 1993. And back then we had another drummer called Tobias, and before Andreas entered the band, and the name, we had a name called Grimorious back then, and yeah. But so this recording have never seen the light of day since, so it's gonna be released pretty soon. So it's kind of fun.
There's almost kind of a mythology, I think, especially for people that didn't live in Sweden or people that didn't live in Norway for that matter. Like they look at it from the US or from the UK or from South Africa or wherever we were at the time, and you look at bands like Dissection, Marduk, Vinterland, Sacramentum, Dawn, and it's almost like this sort of fantastical tale that you've hyped up in your own mind, but the impression I'm getting from what you guys are saying is that living in a smaller, smaller town that you were in, I guess, firstly, to what degree were you influenced, if any, at what was going on in the rest of, by what was going on in the rest of Sweden?
I think we were very, or as much as possible. I mean, there was no internet and stuff like that, so you had to search actively amongst the community to get a hold of this whole fanzines and yeah, it was like that, and you had to meet people at concerts and stuff like that. So, which is what I think underground magazines and all this kind of homemade fanzines and everything. So I think that we thought that we had a good,
yeah.
I think we thought of it as we had a good, we knew everything, but apparently we didn't.
But we were at House of Kicks in Stockholm that later became Sound Pollution. It was a record store, so we used to go up there, and it was actually the only shop you could buy.
Heavy sound, I think.
Yeah, heavy sound. And then it popped up here nearer to us, record stores. But it was those underground magazines like Thomas Nyqvist magazine. What was it called?
Thomas.
Putrefaction magazine. And Slayer Mag and Nordic Vision. Those underground.
Yeah, especially Slayer magazine. Yeah, but as I was telling you before, I mean, we grew up in this, out on the countryside. So I mean, for us, it was kind of a big deal to go into the city, or go to Stockholm was like going to the end of the world. So I mean, we didn't have a car, we didn't have the driving. In the beginning, we were just young. And there was no train, no buses, more or less. So I mean, you were kind of stuck there in this little world.
And when you get hold of this album, whatever it was blood, sweat, and tears behind it. So you had to listen to it properly. And I bought a record and I copied it to Daniel, and Daniel bought another record and he copied it to me. So it was like that also. When you buy a record, we never bought the same records because it was better to buy 3 different records and split it together.
Which, by the way, I've spoken about this many times before on the shows. I don't want to necessarily repeat myself, but I do feel like nowadays the fact that the average youngster can jump on Spotify and they have access to every single band on the face of the earth. all of us had to work for it when we were young. Like I had to literally leaf through Nuclear Blast catalogs, try and decipher what they were saying in German, then go, okay, this Impaled Nazarene band, they're using this word to describe it, and that word that might be pretty cool. So I'm going to buy, an Impaled Nazarene record. The album cover for the Somberlane, that looks fucking brilliant. I'm going to buy myself this record. And you didn't know it at all. And like in our case, it took 3 months. If we ordered something from Nuclear Blast, it took 3 months to arrive to South Africa, and it was expensive. So you saved up as much pocket money as you could. You could only maybe afford 1 or 2 CDs. Your friends did the same as you guys. We would record for each other. But when you got that album, I mean, you literally studied every single fucking lyric. Everyone on the thank you list. You could name, like, off the top of your head this like every corner of the album cover. Like you understood and related to deeply.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's absolutely the same for us.
And also these spoiled bastard kids today. I mean, it's the same with the, if you were getting a T-shirt, that was like you struck gold. And then you didn't care about this XX large. You didn't care it, but you just I find this T-shirt.
We became pretty handy with making them smaller. With the sewing machine,
cutting them. Even finding a T-shirt with a band you like, that was really hard. And that's kind of strange for young people to hear today.
No, I mean, and again, you wore that T-shirt until it literally turned into T-shirt vapor. Like you could pick the shirt up, blow it, and it would just like disappear like spores. I had a Samael Rebellion long sleeve that I loved like that, and it was. I remember I put it on once, and it just literally disintegrated as I pulled it over me. It just ripped in like multiple places all at once. So, when the band was up and running and you guys were playing and that Swedish scene was in full swing, what was it like to experience that as a band, to kind of be part of it? I mean, I listed all those bands before that are all absolutely seminal in their own right. What was it like for you guys experiencing that and living through it?
The thing is that when we were living it, it wasn't this magic aura around it. It became later. Then it was just, we're hanging out with friends and we're gonna play tonight in Västerås with Dark Funeral. Who is Dark Funeral? Yeah, they are the guys on the same label as us. Okay, cool. Yeah. So it was like that, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and also we have this kind of rehearsal cabin outside, in the woods actually, and we did spend a lot of time in that cabin. So it wasn't like we were traveling around, going to shows, and we didn't really have that interest. So we were more or less doing our thing, and playing the music that we liked, and hanging there in the cabin. So I mean,
we were not a part of the Stockholm scene or the Göteborg scene or something like that. We were the scene. Our own scene.
Yeah.
We start hanging a bit in Strängnäs with Thomas Nyqvist and the Mesa Torment thing. I think it was the only ones we hanged alone.
Yeah, but also, I mean, Eskilstuna.
Yeah, we had.
That's the closest city. That's where we are right now, actually. But Eskilstuna always had a great scene as well.
Yeah.
Really good band. Also a band called The Eternal Darkness, which are good friends of us, and they were really looking up to them. Back in the early 90s, and so there was still this kind of thing happening here in this town, but as said, we didn't bring really.
No, we didn't. They were so much older.
They were a couple of years older, and we were stuck in the woods. So it was like, so I think that more or less later on we became closer friends.
I was going to ask you, did they hold your age against you, or did they kind of keep you at a distance because you were younger?
Yeah, they did, and I mean, to tell the truth, I mean, we were more into the, even if we grew up listening to a lot of heavy metal and stuff like that, and death metal. I mean, we were a bit more black metal.
Yeah.
And some of the older dudes didn't like that at all. So we said, okay, so you're black metal and you're younger, so get out of here.
You're black metal kids.
Yeah. So that was also a kind of the attitude towards us before they got to know us, and we could actually say that, yeah, but we grew up listening to the same bands.
Yeah, because in that time, if you didn't move on to black metal from death metal, you stayed in death metal. You didn't like black metal. It was like, no, this is not.
Well, another thing a lot of people miss is that nowadays, because of big festivals like Hellfest and things like that, every single metal band under the sun plays there. You'll have, I mean, I think at this year's Hellfest you had Limp Bizkit, and then you had bands like Gehenna on the rest of the bill. That was unheard of in the 90s.
Yes.
Like I mean, and there was not just that there was a split between like extreme stuff and the more mainstream stuff. There was no, and certainly in a lot of places there was no let's say crossover between death metal and black metal. You were in like part of the black metal scene, or you were in the death metal scene.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, it was like that. They took that very, very seriously.
Yes. Yeah, and we did that as well. We did as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, when we started black metal, I don't know if we were really black metal like that.
I think we wanted to be a black metal band, probably back in like 93, 94, that we were aiming to more or less to play a black metal.
Yeah.
But I think along the way, I think Witness became something. I would never call Windland a black metal band, actually.
We can melodic black metal, okay.
If people want to call it that, that's fine with me. But for me, black metal is, another thing.
Yeah.
And I also have to have this satanic concept and everything, and and so, which Windland actually never, was having it lyrically and everything. So, me, it's kind of strange to call it black, and I think we are way too soft to be a black metal band. That's my opinion. People may say so, but but if back in our photos, we were doing like 92, 93, 94. Of course, we were inspired of the whole black metal thing, and so I mean, yeah.
There was kind of a poetry, I think, to a lot of your lyrics. If you look at Welcome My Last Chapter, a song like Still the Night is Awake. Like I remember reading those lyrics when the album came out, and it was one of the albums that I'd ordered on Nuclear Blast, and it kind of appealed to me in a different way to a lot of the black metal stuff, or the other black metal, the Norwegian black metal stuff that I was listening to, or the like really satanic stuff. I loved as I said, there was sort of it felt like you. I'm going to use the phrase, you were old beyond your years writing those lyrics. Like, still the night is awake, like a black candle that's all around. To go from dusk from year, I walk thirsty for blood. It's kind of this. I love abstract lyric writing anyway. I like it when, as a listener, as somebody who's reading the lyrics, you can impose your own ideas and your own meaning on the lyrics. But I always thought that was something that you guys had really nailed down, to a very high level and a very high degree on Welcome My Last Chapter.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to the lyrics, I think the inspiration comes from everywhere. But you also have this. I was actually kind of interested in this poetry and stuff back then, and we had this excellent library at school, actually. Where I was stealing a lot of poetry books, actually, and kind of tried to rewrite the good pieces, and but the translation was probably not the best back then to English, but so yeah, of course, but also. I think we kind of, for me, the inspiration came from where we were growing up, the surroundings and the woods and everything. So
I think that's the reason why the album still is working, because it's like you said, it's quite mature to be done by 17-year-olds. Yeah, I think if we were writing about Satan and fires and corpse paints and spikes and stuff like that, it would be outdated now. But I think this will be, in 50 years, it's still what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I would assume at the time when you were recording the record, or when you were writing the record, you would never, if somebody had tapped you on the shoulder and said, "Hey, listen, in 30 years' time, you're going to be having a conversation with a guy on a podcast talking about the album, and there's going to be tons of people that are going to be interested in hearing you play." I mean, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The joke of the day.
Yeah. So how old were you, and when did the actual writing for Welcome My Last Chapter, when did that start?
The whole journey to the album was kind of small pieces connected to each other. I mean, even back in '92, you can still hear actually some connection, but how old were we when we recorded the album? I think
were we 17? You were maybe 18, because I am born late that year.
Did I even drive?
Yeah,
I did start my car.
Yeah, I think you had actually got your driving license exactly then.
Yeah,
I think you were 18, but I hadn't turned.
And then we have this guy. Yeah, I was 16 years old actually.
Wow.
So yeah,
that was when we recorded the album. So when we rehearsed the album and made a song, we were younger, of course.
Wow. Yeah. So because the album came out in '96, and if you guys were, I mean, you would have been starting, if I'm reading you correctly, the writing would probably have started around '94.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I think '93, '94. I think. Yeah.
So then we was like working.
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of strange.
Sometimes I look at my kids. I have got one. He's like 15 now, turned 16. And when he was 14, I was like, in your age, I was writing an album that still is a masterpiece, and they are just playing computers and screaming. So yeah, it's different. It's a way of doing things.
It is. I mean, again, if I think about an album like In the Nightside Eclipse, for example, it always blows my mind to think that those guys were like 17 and 18 years old when they were doing that. And it's like musicianship and songwriting craft at such a high level. And it's the same with this album. How did everything, the writing was taking place over this extended period. How did it all ultimately end up coming together into that album? Was there ever did you ever set out with a vision or an idea of what you wanted the album to sound like, or did it start just coming together organically?
I think we didn't have to. We didn't have any band meetings, and it's gonna sound like this because we were, like Bragman said here, we were spending like 24/7, 7 days a week in that cabin, rehearsing. So I think it just now we can do more with it. It's as perfect as it can be, I think.
Yeah, because there was a lot of band back in like 94, 95 when everyone was trying to play as fast as they could. I think there was some kind of trend over there where every band was playing faster and faster and faster. I think we came through that, I think that was the thing we want to do. Like, no, let's go back to the more heavier stuff and go back to the roots when we actually can play more slow music and more focus on the feeling and the atmospheric feeling and more like stuff like that. I think when we got to that point, I think it was much easier to put up the pieces, because we tried out to be like back in 93, 94. I think we did try to play really fast and blah blah blah, but it sounded good.
I remember when we came to Unison Studio to record the album, the songs were finished. It was nothing like, we tried to move this riff around. It was like, this is it. this is the songs. Just play rec on the...
Yeah, it went really fast, actually. We had booked the studio for a couple of weeks and didn't. It was really fast. And I think we used up a week.
Oh.
And I finished all the songs except the ending for the last song in one day.
Oh.
It was like...
we recorded the drums on the first day.
Wow. So you guys were so well drilled by that point. It was just like you could come in and just give it like one or two takes and you would nail it.
Never been in a professional studio, so we had this thought about, okay, when we come to the studio, we have to play it right, because we weren't aware of, you can redo the guitars and cut, and it was just, we're gonna play this perfect from the beginning to the end. And that's what we did.
Not perfect, mate.
No, not perfect. As perfect as we did.
A lot of people that come up and say, and what was it that they said, that it's like being back in the 90s, watching you guys play. And we don't think that's not the way we think, I guess, but it's the way that people. That's the experience for people, and it's still strange. And I mean, it's somewhat feels like back in the 90s, because we never really knew or understood that the band got kind of big or had this aura and mystic and rumors and stuff like that. We never knew that something like that was going on. But 30 years later, and someone coming up to you and say that, hey, this is like being back in the 90s when you guys play. I think that's the best. That's the best review you can get, I think.
But we don't use click tracks live or nothing. It's really old school. We use our pedals quite the same as we had when we recorded the album, and just plug in and play on the real guitar amps and but it's not for the 90s, but a little bit better productions and bigger scenes. But behind the instrument, it's insane.
But when we played live, actually, in Västerås, and that's it. So we had 2 guitar and drums.
We never hit the bass.
No bass
live.
So, but
When you play those old songs live now, does it have a different emotional resonance for you than it had then? Like, does it feel, or does it still speak to you as the artist and the creator? Does it still speak to you in the same way?
I think they mean more to me now than they did.
Actually, I have to agree. Yes, I think, and I actually kind of surprised when we're playing that it still sounds pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
And some of those old riffs really, you can really, almost got goosebumps when you listen to it again and playing it. And that's a big surprise.
Yeah, and we have rehearsed it a lot now, but I'm not tired of it.
No. Well,
I enjoy playing them every time I play them. It's fun to see the audience too, because you can really see that they are appreciating it. When we play, I have even seen people standing and crying in the front row, so that's quite kind of Beatles cool to see.
Yeah,
when
you point at them, you say, "Buck up, man up."
Yeah, like that. Yeah.
What was it like those first rehearsals that you guys did? Did it feel strange being back together in the band room playing those songs, or did it feel like some of that old spark and that chemistry was still there?
Yeah, I think it wasn't weird at all. It was more like you said, it was like 100%, and that's it. It sounds fucking great.
Yeah. I mean, even though we haven't been rehearsal or playing together for many years, it felt like more or less coming home and getting good, because we were so used to see each other every day and being in this kind of cabin, because we build up our own world out there in this woods alone, doing everything. And so it felt surprisingly natural when we met and just started to play.
It was like the time had stood still.
Yeah, it was.
And I think we don't have to wonder what Andreas feels about this. We knew it. Well, we know each other.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's easy. It's easy to.
Yeah, it's easy, but we wouldn't. We of course we felt like, okay, let's try it out. If the spark or the magic or what do you want to call it, if it's not there, because we will notice from right away, not rehearsing 5 or 10 times, or I mean, it's like for 5 seconds we know that, okay, yes, the spark is really there, and it is still there. There are some parts of the songs and some songs that we kind of maybe not enjoy as much, but as a whole, the magic is still there, and that's the reason why we're doing it. And the reason for also that it sounds like the 90s, it's not supposed to. We're not doing it for the sake of trying to be old school, or because this is who we are. Yeah. This is what we do, and we're going to do it this way. And if we like it, then we play live. And it's after that, I mean, it's up to you guys. And of course, it matters if people like it or not. Of course. But it have to have this feeling for us to do it. That's of course something that it's for every artist. But it was one song, and it was like, yeah, okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
When you experience that chemistry and when you feel that kind of magic is still there, does it ever make you wonder, what if you guys hadn't called it a day and you'd carried on?
Yeah, of course. I remember when we did not call it a day. It was more naturally grown apart. But I remember we got a record deal from Nuclear Blast to record the album number 2. But I think we didn't even look at it.
No, I mean, we did have a couple of new songs and new ideas and stuff like that. And but once again, we were kind of tired of everything. So I didn't even bother.
No, I think if we had continued, maybe we had put out 4 albums, and a couple of them maybe hadn't been so great. So I think this is the best.
Yeah. There is this sliding door moment, it would be great to see, what would happen if we just continued. But I personally think we did the right decision, and because we were, I think we all, in a way, agreed that, let's do something else and just put this on ice, and because looking back, maybe it would, I don't know.
And the more time that goes, it's harder to make the follow-up album, of course. Because you don't want to ruin the magic that we had create.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, we were talking about bands, albums, etc., being products of their time. But I think, again, sometimes people forget just how much circumstance has to do with how an album ends up sounding, how it ends up coming out. Like, all of the these famous rock albums from the 1970s, or famous metal albums from the 1980s, they all have these crazy wild stories and stories of, this guy was, had 2 hookers in the studio with him when he was recording vocals. So, and these completely and utterly insane sets of circumstances, but they all end up impacting and influencing how the album comes out sounding. So, when I think of Welcome My Last Chapter, I mean, I don't know, and I'd love to hear your perspective on it, but could you even ever recreate the conditions that produced an album like that today?
I don't know. I think so. Personally, I think so. You might not agree, but
yeah, in a way, of course.
Plus, of course, we've been talking a lot of doing new music, and we still have a couple of ideas, and we'll be talking the thing. Because
I was meaning not to create the whole idea that we had this own cabin in the woods and we were young and restless. That's we cannot achieve that, but we can make music, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I believe we still do have this, yes, to find this. I mean, what can I say? The album do have a certain feeling that we was striving for, and there is this kind of important thing that we all in Scandinavia very well aware of, this word melancholia, and that's a typical Scandinavian thing, and you can hear it from every band, from ABBA to Avicii or whatever, to have this kind of sad, dark tone in the music, even though. So, and I think this go back even to folk music and all this kind of, the history of music from the north, or more or less, because affected by the climate and living in darkness for the half of the year and everything. So I think this kind of feeling was very important for us to have on the album, and I think that kind of feeling would be, I mean, if you want to do more music, that feeling is very important.
Yeah, and that's the easy one for us to.
Yeah, I mean, it's in our DNA. So yeah.
It's in your DNA, and I think also, if we're talking about sliding door moments, I kind of feel like now would be the absolute best possible time. Just talking to you guys now, I mean, I can just see three guys that are very much in sync, have real passion and love for the music that you make, and you know that there's an audience for whom that art and that music has genuine meaning. Like it would almost be a shame not to do something about that now. Unless I'm speaking out of turn here.
Yeah. No, like Danny said, we have a lot of ideas, but I think we agree that if we're gonna put it out, it have to be.
It needs to sound like Vinterland. I mean, especially we need that that feeling.
Yeah.
From we had from the beginning, and otherwise there would be no point to release on a new album at all. And of course, there are gonna be people that gonna hate it, but to be honest, I don't really care about that. No. It's I think it's more for us to, because I think we never saw this band split up forever. I think we kind of knew something's gonna happen in the near future, but the near future is still
not so near.
I mean, so but something's gonna happen. I believe so.
Yeah.
But I think coming back to the songs, at least for me, it's like I'm also experiencing them from a whole different perspective, and I mean, sure, we are focusing a lot of. I mean, we try to be fast, and we try to use a lot of double bass drums and stuff like that. But I kind of like the heavier parts a lot more now than I did back then. I think, and I hope if we write some new music, it would be a lot of heavy stuff in there, because that's some parts that I think we haven't explored enough, So
well, actually, that sort of makes me think of this. We were talking about that dip that black metal had, but I mean, like I said to you, I think nowadays there's a huge amount of really exciting, really interesting music coming out. Is there anything that kind of grabs any of your attention right now that is newish, or bands that you've seen at some of these festivals that you've played at where you've gone, fuck, those guys have got it nailed down?
No.
Probably, absolutely, and I'm so bad, to remember the name of every new band that's coming up, because all these young kids, and it's so great to see these young kids with so much energy and playing this thrash metal bands or whatever, and you almost get tired just seeing them playing live. Of course, that's wonderful. But I don't know. There is a lot. There is band. I for me, Sarkator.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to use the term energy, I mean, they have got, I don't know how many, I don't know actually how they put it off and how they do it. And they are extremely good. They're good live, good musicians and stuff like that. But there are good bands, but you kind of return back to where you came from pretty fast, you know. It's
like the playlist on Spotify. If I want to listen to black metal, it's not a song newer than 95, 96 maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
Song from Storm of the Lightspeed maybe, but that's where I do the line, I think. So it's black metal is hard for me to get into now. New bands that I think, oh yeah, they are doing it.
I don't really listen to metal at all actually at home. So I mean, I'm not the one to ask you.
Well, what sort of stuff do you like?
Everything. You know, and I can find everything in every genre. There's interesting parts, and you know, so I do listen to all kind of anything from jazz to the soul, you know, you name it, punk, whatever. So I appreciate a lot of music. Of course, I listen to metal at home, but it's not like, you know, I've never been that guy, you know, that metal guy, you know. And I think same with you, Pehr. Oh, I mean, you don't even go to show that often to see metal bands, and I don't know. I don't feel I'm in the scene at all in that way. So I guess that leaves me. Yeah, to be the one, you know. Yeah, being the metal guy.
To be the young buck. All right, well, guys, thank you so much for your time. I'm so glad we finally managed to make this happen, despite everything. And I hope that the next one of these that we do over beers and we do it in person. And you know,
of course,
there's some new music coming when we do that.
Yeah.
Hopefully. In 30 years.
All right.
Yeah, in 30
years. in another 30 years from now.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for the time.
First released all the way back in March 1996, you just heard the opening track from Vinterland's debut album, Welcome My Last Chapter, the song Our Dawn of Glory, a perfect way to bookend what was a fantastic conversation. A big thank you to those guys for rescheduling as many times as they did, and also for coming on and having a very open and candid conversation. Great to talk to them. I also want to say a big thank you to their manager, Anna, for making this happen. She's absolutely awesome. And like I said to them as we were saying goodbye, I certainly hope that the next one of these that we have is going to be face-to-face over a couple of beers. They are great guys, and if you do get to see them live at any point this year, do make sure that you catch them. They were fantastic at Fortress Festival, and especially now that I know what the background story was to how they got there. Like, I knew there was chaos and carnage going on. I didn't realize it was quite to that extent. So, yeah, the fact that they came on stage and I watched them from side stage just absolutely fucking ripping it from start to finish, that tells you a lot about their dedication to their craft, and I absolutely support and love it. I will post the Vinterland Bandcamp link in the description to the podcast, so if you are a Johnny-come-lately and you've never listened to Welcome My Last Chapter, now's your chance to do so. Of course, if you go to their Bandcamp and you pick yourself up anything, you let them know that old Jackson sent you, and do give them a little nudge. Tell them that we wouldn't mind them getting around to doing that second album at some point sooner rather than later. All right, friends, still a lot to come. This has been an episode of Firsts, the first ever Vinterland podcast episode. And that, by the way, they actually confirmed after we had hit stop on the interview. This was the first time. I don't even know if it's just for podcasts. I think it's the first time as a band they have ever done a long-form conversation like this. So you've witnessed history in the making. But we will not stop there, because I have no less than 2 premieres on the Sphere for you. The first one comes to us courtesy of our good friends over at Apocalyptic Witchcraft Records, Theosophy, a band out of Russia who have put out 6 albums these many years. They started back in 2004. First album was Out of Decades that came out in 2010, and last album, or most recent record, was 2023's Bleeding Wounds of the First and the Last. They have a new record coming out called Line Before the Event Horizon, and that is going to be released by Apocalyptic Witchcraft Records on the 25th of September 2026. Koller over at Apocalyptic Witchcraft is very high on this band, and so naturally he had to choose Into the Necrosphere as the staging ground from whence to launch the first single off this record. You are going to hear a track entitled Path to the Void, and then straight after that, the man who never sleeps, Matt Prizzo, is back with Conspiracy X. He has put out, or he is ready to release, I should say, a brand new single entitled Injection and Control. Should be available for you to buy on Bandcamp around the time that you hear this, but as you know, I'm a big fan of every single thing that man does, so anytime he puts out a new song, I'm always down to hear it, and he's always down to share it with the Legion first and foremost. So sit back, enjoy, for the very first time ever, no less than 2 premieres on the Sphere. A right hook, liver punch, two-shot combo to continue your goodness on Into the Necrosphere this week. You just heard two premieres, starting with the brand new single by the band Theosophy. The song is called Path to the Void. It is taken from their upcoming album, Line Before the Event Horizon, due for release on Apocalyptic Witchcraft Records on September the 25th. I think by the time that this episode drops, that pre-order link should be available to everybody to go and make use of. So I'll post that in the description to the podcast. Head over there, buy yourself some music, and let the gang at Theosophy know who it was who sent you. Also, straight after that, of course, you heard Conspiracy X. No strangers to anybody who has followed Into the Necrosphere for a lengthy period of time. Anything that Matt Prizzo does usually is gold, and this one is no exception. Again, I believe that single should now be available to buy on the Conspiracy X Bandcamp. Of course, if you are in an unsigned band and you are desperate to get your music heard, drop me a line on intothenecrosphere@gmail.com. You can also reach out to me on intothenecrosphere.com. Hit me up on Facebook, X, or Instagram. If I like what I hear, I will feature it on the show, and I don't even charge you any money for it. A couple of other things just to remind you of before we get going to the weekly news rant. If you are a first-time listener to Into the Necrosphere, and you're wondering how on earth am I going to fill the void left by the fact that Into the Necrosphere only posts new episodes once a week? Well, good news, I'm a card-carrying member of an elite unit of content creators that have got you covered from Monday to Sunday. On a Monday, we've got Horror Wolf 666. That is hosted by Brandon Legion. Yours truly hosts Into the Necrosphere every Tuesday. On a Wednesday, we've got Everything Went Black, brought to you by Mike Hill from the band Tombs. We also have Iblis Manifestations. That is hosted by Cheyenne from the band Trivax. He comes at you with a solo episode every Sunday as well. Then on a Thursday, we have Necromaniacs. That is brought to you once again by Mike Hill. He is joined by the Sheriff, Mike Scondado, and the Professor, Jeff Kashid. And then on a Sunday, we've got Soul Knox, hosted by the Sinister Minister himself, Karl Haikara. Karl also joins me on the weekly news rant coming up in just a few minutes. But before we get to that and we listen to some new music and talk about this new band that has miraculously sprung up out of, let's be honest, the ashes of My Dying Bride, predicted on this show, by the way. We'll get to that in a couple of minutes. Before we get to that, just a few last reminders. On intothenecrosphere.com, you can check out the links to every single member of the Horsemen of the Podcasting Apocalypse. Every band who is featured on the Unsanctioned Filth segment is on there, and I also have episode playlists and stuff like that. So make sure you check out the website. Make sure you support Santelia, the fantastic web designer who did the website for me. If you're in the market for a new website for your business or for your band, she is absolutely top notch and comes highly recommended. She's not paying me to say that. I just think credit where credit is due. But right now, before we go any further, I just need to issue a stark but very important warning. If you're a grown man who allows your girlfriend to decide what band shirts you're allowed to wear out in public, then it's time for you to hit the bricks. Because this is my weekly news rant.
Round them up for judgment. And hang them where the world can see.
The Sinister Minister, Karl Haikara, welcome back to Into the Necrosphere, my man. How's everything going with you?
All right, how are you?
Yeah, no, I'm all right, thank you. I'm all right. A little bleary-eyed this morning, but I do appreciate you staying up until the fucking the most God-forsaken hour imaginable to do this with me. What have you been up to before we dive into some new music?
Not too much, usual shit. Finally getting the all the guest vocals lined up for the Black Flame Ultra album. Only waiting on one more, and then I gotta finish mixing it, which I'm gonna do soon. And it's coming along quite well. I mean, most of the stuff's pretty much mixed. I just gotta do some tweaks and then layer in all the guest vocals and stuff. So it's that's coming along. So I've been doing that, dealing with that, and playing Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Yeah, you told me about that, and you and I we've got a date to record the Elden Ring episode for Soul Knox.
Yep, we're going to be doing an Elden Ring episode.
So we're going to be talking video games. Are you I've noticed you've switched back to Sundays only now.
Yeah, I mean I don't really have enough episodes to be putting out twice a week right now.
Yeah,
I only do twice a week when I need to.
Yeah.
Like when I have an excess amount of episodes, or I'm trying to get out something sooner. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
for the most part, I just Sundays. So
it's kind of like muscle memory now to be saying that you get a double shot of Soul Knox when I do my my show plugs. So yeah. I'll remind myself to say it's Sundays, but keep your eyes out on Thursdays.
Yeah, I mean you're not the only one, because Mike and Mike Koller, they does the same thing. So, but it's yeah, it's more like how you do episodes every once in a while on Fridays. It's kind of how it is for me for the Thursday show. It's like if I have excess amount of episodes, I need to get through the backlog. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I actually do have a bit of a backlog myself right now that I could potentially put out on a Friday, but I've got to be honest. It's last year I caught myself out doing that, where I kind of emptied the tank a little bit too quickly.
Yeah,
and then the other thing is, people and in fairness, I think most people do realize how much work it is to do 2 episodes a week. I just don't really have the time for it. I mean, I've not even stuck consistently with putting out the news rant every Friday like I had intended to. I probably will. I'll definitely put out this one. But yeah, it's tough, man. You get to you get to Monday, Tuesday, and then work for me just takes over, and I don't really have the time to do very much else besides that. So
yeah, that's the other thing. Like some weeks it's hard enough just to get out one episode, like just to have the time to be like, okay, let me sit down and edit it and put it and upload it and then do all the shit. Like then you have to post it, and there's all the steps for posting an episode. And the other thing too is that I feel like, honestly, when I put out 2 episodes a week, usually neither episode gets as many listens as if you put out just one. So I found that it's generally better to just put out one. And I very rarely do the 2 anymore.
Yeah.
Like I'll probably do 2, like during certain months, like October, because I usually do a bunch of horror movie stuff and kind of like special stuff for Halloween. Like that's the kind of times where I'll put out 2 in a month. But most of the time it's just gonna be 1. So
all right, well, let's dive into some music, my man. And we are not starting on Metal Storm this week because as we were discussing before I hit record, for some bizarre reason, Metal Storm has decided to ignore the fact that there is a new Terrestrial Hospice record on the way. They didn't release the first single, which we did listen to on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. There is now a second single that has come out entitled Depraver, Black Invocation. And this is taken from their upcoming album Omnicide Chapter 1. The release date for that is September 11 this year. Let's hear what it sounds like. Pausing there. What do you think?
I mean, this is top notch. I mean, this is like, there's no way that this is not going to be on my top list for this year. Like, Terrestrial Hospice never disappoint, and this is sick as fuck as always. So,
yeah, I totally agree. I loved I think when Phosphoric Salvation, the previous single, came out, I said this was going to be one of the albums of the year. That track has just underlined that fact. It is absolutely fucking sensational. So the record comes out September 11th on Edged Circle Productions. I did mention the release date, but I did mention the label. And just in case anybody wonders why they are on the Metal Storm shit list, it is because Skagen, otherwise known as Payman, used to be the guitarist in Thunderbolt. And Thunderbolt's early years, when I say early years, I'm talking like 96,
Early 90s.
97. Yeah, they were marred by affiliations with NSBM. So that's why that is why I think Metal Storm is giving them the cold shoulder. Now, I think it should be said here that firstly, Thunderbolt, I think their last album was 2007. So Skagen hasn't actually played in Thunderbolt for 19 years now. So that's one thing to think about. Secondly, it was only in the early years that Thunderbolt had an affiliation with any of that, which of course, I don't agree with and I think is fucking stupid. But, when you're young, you do stupid things. But I do think what is particularly stupid is the fact that he is also, or has at some point been a member of Eternus. He's played live with Gorgoroth. All of those bands get promoted by Metal Storm, and yet Terrestrial Hospice does not.
Well, and then the other member of the band, Inferno, of course, is the drummer of Behemoth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they're not going, well, we're not showing that Behemoth music video anymore.
Yeah, because Inferno's in a band with guy from Thunderbolt. And, I mean, the other thing that has to be said is that the Thunderbolt stuff is sick as fuck, too. So, I mean, I don't care. Like, the Thunderbolt EP and their material is very, very good. It's very well written. Pretty classic 90s black metal, and not particularly political in any way either. So, to me, this band isn't NSBM unless they're writing about Hitler. I have pretty clear delineation. Unless you're literally like Wolfnacht or something and writing about like, Hitler Uber Allies or some shit. I don't consider you a NSBM band. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and I've said this before, but I don't see how I don't see how you can point the finger at NSBM bands, but it's absolutely okay to sing about communist shit.
Oh yeah, I mean, this just is probably worse.
100%. You want to talk about universal death toll? We can get into that conversation.
Yeah, the communists have much more to answer for. There's a reason why certain countries, like I saw, Czech Republic, they've made it illegal. They made communism illegal, and spreading communism. Like they're treating it exactly like Nazism, which they should, I mean, think about the toll that communism had on Czech Republic or Poland, these countries, they should make it illegal,
Well, both are a form of flock thinking that I cannot stand. That being said, that song is absolutely tier 1, top-notch brilliant.
Terrestrial Hospice are also like pure black metal, you know what I mean? It's nothing to do with this stuff. They're all about hating all of humanity. Each and every one of you.
Strongly recommend that anybody who hasn't checked it out yet go back and listen to Indian Summer Brought Mushroom Clouds and Caviari to the General. That's their previous records. Both are albums I've been into pretty heavily recently, and I really, really back them. I want to ask you actually, because it's always a focal point of the news rant. People always want to know, what are you listening to at the moment? Like, what are the bands that are getting the most attention from you presently?
It's like newer bands.
Well, it doesn't really matter. Like, just generally speaking, what are you listening to at the moment?
Let's see. Well, the newest thing that I was listening to is the new album from Faustian, Parable of the Sewer, which is sick as fuck. Definitely going to be in the top list for me.
I was going to say another contender for the best of the year, no doubt. That's on my list as well.
Yeah, definitely. Last night I was listening to the first Old Man's Child album, which Born of the Flickering, which is a classic. And then let's see. I was on like a Doom kick for a little bit. I was listening to Solitary Eternus and Candlemass and stuff. Goatcraft have a new EP called Barbed Wire Doctrine. That's pretty good. And yeah, I mean, I've been listening to old stuff. I was listening to Root and Master's Hammer. The new Emptiness album is pretty good. Nowhere Speaks. It's a possible contender. I have to listen to it more first, though. And what else? The new Mortem album, Morkatid. That's a pretty sick. Have you listened to that one yet?
Yes, I have.
Yeah,
I have.
that's a good one.
It's really good and a big step up over the first one.
Yeah, and the first one was good too, but that one's definitely a step up. And then there's a band that Dave Berardi, aka Razor Eater Metal, sent me the band is called Epikoros, and the album's called Black Sun Eclipse. I think I messaged you about this, but
You did. I featured them on the podcast last week because they're not signed yet. I don't know how on earth they managed to put that record out without, Leastron sending Obscurity sending them a deal.
well, yeah, I mean, you got
yeah,
Dominator, and that's crazy. You got Dominator on drums and a whole bunch of other people. That's crazy.
Mm.
Fuck, I didn't know that was self-released.
It was.
What
You're
else?
putting yours together there. I've been listening to Faustian as well. I owned Parable Sewer, didn't own, but I had a copy of it for probably 12 months before it was released, so I knew it was coming, and I did hint on the news rant a couple of times. There's an album coming by, some guys I know that is going to blow people's fucking socks off. Unsurprisingly, that album has succeeded in doing so. How they managed to get it right. Like, I was listening to the record quite a few times this weekend, and I stopped midway through one of the listening sessions and just reflected on how absolutely insane it is that Matt, Sam, and Dave are able to turn out music of the quality that they can produce at such a rapid clip. Because I've also heard the new Werewolves, and I can tell you right now that it will not disappoint. It's another absolute fucking belter. So you're probably talking at least top 10 for both, potentially, depending on how the rest of the year fleshes out.
Right.
But Arabelle Sewer, make sure that you check it out. Really good stuff. Released by our friends on Apocalyptic Witchcraft Records. So, I always show a lot of support to them as well. Then I've also checked out Chamber of Unlight, their new album, Avernus. I don't think it's released yet, but they put out the whole thing on YouTube about 4 or 5 days ago. And then the Mordant Red, Lord Humongous, Bonded by the Bomb split EP, I absolutely love. And I find myself becoming a bigger and bigger fan of Mordant Red by the day, in part because I don't know whether you follow them on Instagram, but their vocalist, Revok, has been doing these like almost old school pro wrestling promos to announce where they're going. And it is fucking absolutely some of the most hysterical, brilliant shit that I've ever seen. Not to mention the fact that he's probably better at cutting promos than just about any active wrestler in the WWE today.
Well, and then I'll also subscribe to his YouTube. His YouTube's pretty funny too.
Yeah,
he does it all in character.
I've actually spoken to him offline, and we're gonna hopefully do something on Into the Necrosphere at some point. Whether he comes on and does a news rant with me, or comes on and does a full episode. But I just when I listened to that track, or the first single off that EP. I loved it, and I could just hear this is my kind of band. They were recommended to me by Vincent Crowley. He said, like, make sure you check this out. It's a friend of mine.
Yeah,
and he was not wrong. What a fucking album. Anything else? Anything else rounding out your list?
Yeah, the new Moonspell album, Far From God, to me is a big return to form for Moonspell. It's their best album, in my opinion, since Extinct, which came out in, I think, 2015. It's very similar to that one as well, because it's more like the goth side of things. So it's more similar to Extinct and the Alpha Noir album, the second disc, where it's a bit more mellow, or Sin Pecado, like those kind of albums. That's kind of more what the vibe is. But I think after the last album, Hermitage, which was a pretty big letdown, this is like, and I didn't really like the album, the 1655, where it was the album before it. I feel like this is like a return to form for them. Like, I really like this album a lot, so I'm listening to that one too.
All right. Well, let's get into some more music, and we're going to move on to another band that have been roundly ignored by Metal Storm for whatever reason. Taake. They have just dropped a surprise release on Black Metal Promotion. There was a single that had come out kind of announcing that a new record was due. The record is called, so everybody knows, En Skor of Nutstang. And that is actually officially being released on July the 31st by Dark Essence Records, but they've put out the whole thing on Black Metal Promotion. I heard it. I want to hear what your thoughts are on it, Reverend Karl Haikara. We are going to give 2 minutes. So there's 4 songs on the record. It's about 35 minutes long. So they're fairly lengthy, but we're going to give about 2 minutes worth of listening time to track 3, and that song is entitled Angler. Right, I know I was letting that one run a little long. What are your initial impressions?
Well, it's a modern Taake song, for good or better or worse. My feelings with Taake is I like the first 4 albums quite a bit, and then 5th album's okay outside of the stupid banjo, and then after that it's hit or miss for me, man. And it's hit or miss sometimes even in certain songs. Like, the thing with Taake is he puts too many riffs in every song, so it's like, at least this one, the riffs played for more than a couple times. Like, some of those albums, like, the songs are too much for me. Like, it's just constantly changing so much that I just, like, find it annoying. But mostly on the newer stuff, like the last couple albums. The last album was pretty okay. I'll definitely give this one a listen. I think I'd have to listen to the whole album. But, the last album I thought was pretty okay, but I honestly found it kind of boring. Like, I found it hard to actually listen to the whole thing. I don't know how I'm going to feel about the full album of this. Again, like I said, the thing with Taake is there'll be parts where I'll be, yeah, this is cool. And then all of a sudden he'll do like a riff that I find kind of annoying. And then just kind of have to sit through the annoying part. And then next thing you know, it goes into a cool part, that's just how I feel about modern Taake after the first 4 albums. And this doesn't change any of that. It sounds exactly like the same thing.
I will say for my part, I think the self-titled album from 2008, Norex Wapen from 2011, and Striden's from 2014. Those are my favorite 3 Taake albums. I know I hear what you're saying about the banjo, but the rest of the record, it makes up for it. After that, I kind of fell off a little bit. I thought Kong Winter had its moments, but then I'm with you on Et Hav of Stunt. It's a record I really look forward to, but when it came out, I was just bored to tears by it. It felt very bloated, very self-indulgent, and I totally see what you mean about it. Was almost like you're having to wait for the payoff in every single song, and the payoff is preceded by a bunch of just throwaway nonsense that it sounds like they came up with in the band room, and they're like, well, we need to fill 2 minutes before this really cool part's going to kick in, so let's just shove riff 4, 5, 7, and 12 into it, and and then we get to the good stuff.
Yeah, and then those be like all these like notes, like some like prog shit, like I'm just not that just doesn't do it for me. Yeah, but again, like all of the albums have good parts, like Konig's Winter or whatever it's called has some good parts. I don't hate them. It's just like they feel kind of indifferent to like Stridden Zeus, I think was probably the last one where I thought was pretty good. But yeah, for me, like my favorite Taake will always be the first 4 albums, and then the rest of the songs outside of the banjo song and Norig's Vampen are good. Just a banjo song. I just deleted it on my playlist because I find that banjo part so annoying.
You find it reprehensible. All right, well, you and I need to. I'm not going to say take a victory lap, but we did predict this.
Yes, we did.
Towards Sinister is a new band that has recently been announced for anybody that hasn't been paying attention, featuring, as predicted on Into the Necrosphere, former My Dying Bride members. The press release here says that after leaving My Dying Bride last year, vocalist Aaron Stainthorpe has returned with Towards the Sinister, the new project featuring 3 of his ex and founding My Dying Bride bandmates, Calvin Robertshaw on guitars, Ada Jackson on bass, and Rick Meyer on drums. The new outfit also features second guitarist Chris Revered, keyboardist Mark Deeks, and violinist Emma Allington. So what do you think?
I mean, I'm happy about it. I mean, yeah, I'm not surprised they couldn't convince Martin to come back on violin, but maybe he'll play on the album, but I mean, it's as we predicted when we saw those pictures with like all the founding members, everybody except for Andrew, basically, because Martin was there for those pictures that Martin Powell, so I was like, yeah, Aaron's cooking something up, I was like, they're doing something, and that's exactly what they're doing. I mean, they're gonna play the songs from up to like Gods of the Sun, I think, which is when most of those guys end up leaving, and then they mentioned that they're gonna work on new music. So I'm more excited for them to put out new stuff, right? Because chances of me seeing them live are pretty much zero. I mean, I highly doubt they're gonna like come anywhere near me. Like I'd have to probably fly out to Europe, but I'm pretty stoked on them like doing this. So, and like kind of doing their own thing. They're like, they're not going to do like a Batushka or something. They're creating a new thing, and it's basically, to me, going to be the proper My Dying Bride,
I was going to say kudos to them for not turning this into a squabble about the name. And then, to your point, they say in the post that they put up on Instagram that they will be performing material drawn primarily from the band's seminal early releases, including As the Flower Withers, Turn Loose the Swans, The Angel in the Dark River, and Like Gods of the Sun. So I think this is absolutely the right move. We've always been very clear in our stance that without Aaron, there is no My Dying Bride. But, there was a couple of folks that messaged me and said, well, this kind of proves, I think you might feel the same way. This kind of proves that, that the issues set in the My Dying Bride camp, not necessarily Aaron Stainthorpe. But I did think about that. I feel like it's just really more a case of people get older, people change, and relationships just deteriorate. Friends stop being friends, married couples get divorced, other married couples allow a third party into the marriage, just to keep things spiced up. But you know what I mean? It's like things progress and move forward, and there's no
Yeah,
I don't know whether it's necessarily the fault of either side. I just think they had their creative partnership had run its course.
Yeah, I mean, my guess is that you said something like maybe Aaron didn't want to be in the band with them anymore, and that's I feel like that probably is the case. Like, you know, I mean, just judging by the kind of way that I saw members from the band acting on the internet and stuff like that, I can kind of like the keyboardist guy or Sean or whatever his name is, the violinist. I mean, that guy's kind of a cunt. So like, I'm not surprised that
you said it.
Yeah, you know it. You've seen his fucking things he's posted on.
Well, I don't know
social
whether
media
I
for
told
everybody
you.
to see. You know.
Yeah, I don't know whether I told you about it, but he was the guy that made that like really snotty remark on the My Dying Bride group on Facebook.
Yeah.
When I shared and this is before anything had come out with Aaron leaving the band. I posted the last interview that I did with him where he was kind of talking about, you know, what the situation is. And in that interview, again, for anybody that hadn't seen it, it sounded like from his perspective, things were going to go ahead without any issues. Things would, move forward as they had done previously. Maybe there was some tensions, but, you know, he felt it was something that they could overcome. And Sean posted this really cunty remark on the Facebook group saying, "To save me from having to sit through this, what exactly does he say?"
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that's part. It's one. I've seen him say other things that were pretty cunty on social media too. So it's like I'm like, you know, I mean, that's the kind of band Andrew wants to have. Go for it. You know, like I don't. The thing is, like, I'm just glad we're gonna get new My Dying Bride music with Aaron, you know, and then Andrew can do whatever he's gonna do. I mean, I don't think having to do From Swallow to Sun is gonna be the right singer for the band, you know, just judging by the videos I've seen. Like, I liked Miko. I think his name's Miko, right? Or from My Dying Bride Miko from Swallow to Sun. I like his voice for Swallow to Sun. You know, I think Swallow to Sun are good, but the videos I've seen, his voice is not good for My Dying Bride, and it just kind of feels weird, him singing like all of Aaron's like super personal lyrics. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, totally agree. Well, again, good luck to My Dying Bride. I do not think that they are going to be as successful as they may have the ambition to be without Aaron in the band.
Well, I mean, I'm really not interested in at all in listening to anything they put out, you know, like just not interesting to me. I saw people commenting on like, this is the real My Dying Bride. I mean, that's how I feel, you know, to me, like, and I think that having Calvin, like a lot of the best albums, Calvin was on some of the really great albums, like Field of Misery he was on that album. Some other ones, like, he was a big part of like the kind of older My Dying Bride sound. So I'm pretty stoked on seeing what they're going to do with it, you know?
Yep. Now, speaking of a band I have not personally been interested in listening to for quite some time, that I did, and still, I mean, early material or certain material I absolutely love.
Yeah.
But Ministry have revealed the lead single from what they are calling their final album, and I say what they're calling their final album because they also broke up on From Here to Eternity. Or that was previously going to be the official last Ministry record that was put out in 2013, and of course, you know, 5 years later they came out with a new record. But this time, Al Jourgensen has promised us that he is 100% serious. It says here, Ministry have released "Burned Out," the first new single from their upcoming album, Hate to Go, Take Out or Delivery, due out for release on October the 30th via Cleopatra Records. Hate to Go, Take Out for Delivery, they say, has been announced as the band's final studio album, marking the end of Ministry's career, spanning more than 4 decades. The record also reunites frontman Al Jourgensen with longtime collaborator Paul Barker, who has played with the band from 1986 to 2003. Very surprised that those two managed to mend fences, considering some of the things that Al said about it over the years. But anyway, let's hear what the song sounds like. think that will give us about the gist of what the song is going to sound like, probably for the entirety of its 6 minutes. I think just to level set, because I know probably Ministry is not everybody who listens to the podcasts cup of tea. I absolutely love, and these albums were extremely influential on me and on my taste in music. The Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste, Psalm 69, and Filth Pig. Those records in particular, to me, are to this day 10 out of 10 records. Filth Pig in particular is just such a dark and such a, like, I didn't really know what to call it. It's such a unique sounding record, and there's so many other things that Al did that I really like as well. I love earlier Revolting Cocks. I really love the band that he did with Ian Mackay from Fugazi.
Palehead, I think it's called.
Yes, Palehead. That the EP that they put out, fantastic, and I love Lard as well. Both the Lard records and the Lard EP, phenomenal. And then after, you kind of took this guy who to me was like one of the greatest rebels in music. And as soon as, and I hate to say this, but as soon as he got off the drugs, things took a just terrible turn for the worse. I could still tolerate some of the stuff that he did in the late 90s and the early 2000s, or like the early 2000s up to 2007's The Last Sucker. I mean, they were very heavy-handed on the politics, but I was against the Iraq war, so I guess it bothered me less. And then after that, it's just the most mediocre fucking rubbish that you could possibly imagine. With probably the worst example, I think, being Moral Hygiene that came out in 2021. I thought Hopium for the Masses, the 2024 record, was marginally better, but still not great. And the song that we heard there, I think it actually lives true to its name, Burned Out. It sounds creatively burned out. That sort of track would never in a fucking million years have made the cut when they were recording Psalm 69 or Filth Pig. So I'm glad he's hanging it up.
Yeah,
You've already done enough to destroy your legacy and sully your reputation. You may as well just fucking quit.
Yeah, I'm surprised you mentioned Land of Rape and Honey. I mean, that's my personal favorite Ministry album. But Land of Rape and Honey, Mine is a Terrible Thing, and those are my two favorites. I really like The Dark Side of the Spoon. I think that's a good album. That's the last. To me, that's the last good album they did, because I don't like the George W. trilogy. That's when I kind of randomly started doing like the Rio Grande Blood or whatever the fuck. Like that's when I.
See, I quite like that song Rio Grande Blood. I really like.
Yeah, I checked out around that time.
Dark Side of the Spoon, the second track, Whip and Chain.
Yeah, that song's so good. Yeah, that song's sick. Yeah, I mean, I've seen Ministry plenty of times live. They're still great live. I saw them when they did their show where they played all the old songs, like the real old songs, like from Twitch and With Sympathy. That was actually a really fun show. But the thing that sucks is when he plays the new music. Like you go see him, you're like, because he does insist on playing new songs. The first time I saw Ministry was he played I can't remember, whatever the album was, it came out like 2019 or whatever, and he insisted on playing almost the entirety of the album, and then everybody at the show was starting to get like kind of like, like, what is he doing? When are they gonna play? Yeah,
audience is getting antsy.
Yeah, and then at certain points, like, all right, thanks for putting up with us playing new stuff. We're gonna, and then he kicked into like, Stigmata or some shit, and then everybody went crazy. It was funny. I was like, I mean, I respect you like wanting to play your new stuff, but God, it's awful. It's not good, bro.
It's terrible. I remember one of the times that I saw them, and I've seen Ministry play 6-7 times. I agree with you. Great live show.
Yeah.
They did the first hour and a half of the set was just all Houses of the Mole, Rio Grande Blood, and The Last Sucker. And the crowd was relatively into it. But when they came back on and they did Burning Inside, So What, Just One Fix, I mean, people were going fucking nuts. Like that
Yeah.
was the wildest pits that I have ever seen in my entire life. It's like the crowd was literally just like sat there pent up and just waiting for the moment that they hear something that's actually befitting of the man's talents. Because it's it feels like the second half of his entire career has just been one massive underachievement.
It's not been good. I mean, he's one of those guys that I personally think he doesn't need to put out music. You know, he could just tour. There's no reason to put out albums. It's kind of like he's up there with like Metallica, and I put The Cure in this box for a while until their new album came out like a couple years ago, which was actually good. Like, there's certain bands that's just like, at a certain point, just stop putting out music unless it's good. Like, just you don't need to. You can just play live. You know, people will see you. You do not need to. Like, Metallica does not need to ever put out another album again. They could tour till the day they die. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they're basically touring on their first 4 albums. You know, I mean, Ministry at least had more than 4 albums. You know, so they're doing better than Metallica.
I will always have a soft spot for the Black Album because it was it played such a big role in my getting into heavy metal and opening the door for me to other things. But I do agree with you. I mean, it's first 4 albums all the way. I've recently seen a bit of a revival of Kill 'Em All.
I guess it would be first 5 albums. You know, like because they play a lot on Black Album. I actually am one of the few people who likes a lot of Load. I think Load has some good songs on it.
Yeah, Load has some great songs.
Like, so
Reload like, not so much, but Load has some very good songs on.
Yeah, Reload not so much, but. You know, I think if they took the couple of good songs in Reload and took off the couple bad songs off Load, they'd have one really pretty seriously good album, you know?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's a little bit like the Choose Your Illusion game that I mean, I personally love to play quite a bit, which is like, you know, how would you take all the songs of Guns N' Roses' Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 and combine that into one perfect record? I think you could do the same thing with Load and Reload, although it's going to be, certainly for my money, it's going to be heavily weighted towards Load.
Oh, definitely. But that's really the last Metallica era, like for me. Like everything after Reload is total garbage, in my opinion.
Yeah. Now, from one person who had a big influence on me, or a collection of people who had a big influence on me growing up, somebody else who had a big influence on me as a young buck, Lou Koller. I kind of postponed us talking about this a little bit just because it's so fucking depressing. But I don't know whether all of you guys have seen yet. Unfortunately, Sick of It All frontman Lou Koller passed away at the age of 59. He'd had a very lengthy battle with cancer and an esophageal tumor. There had been a point in time, I think about maybe 6-7 months ago, where it seems like he was cancer free, and then the cancer came back very aggressively. And unfortunately, on Friday evening, he passed away. There's basically not been a week in the last, I think, 4 weeks that we haven't been talking about somebody who's passed on. And again, 59 years old is way, way too young. Just relaying my experience and my love of Sick of It All. I discovered them in probably 1994, 95. Somebody had bought Scratch the Surface thinking that it was going to sound like Pantera. It obviously didn't sound like Pantera, so they hated it. And they said, "Do you want this? You can have it for free." And I was like, "Yeah, of course." And I fucking loved that album. This was around about the same time that I'd gotten into Madball. But, you know, songs like Step Down, Scratch the Surface, Desperate Fool, got massively into that. It informed a big part of, my enjoyment of and kind of subsequent discovery of hardcore. Built to Last that came out after that, really loved as well. And it wasn't just for me the fact that it was, the Sick of It All's music sounded good. I really found their lyrics to be particularly inspiring. And then subsequently, having seen them live, they were one of the fucking best hardcore bands that you could ever see live. And in the center of all of it was Lou as the consummate badass frontman. Like, he had unbelievable amounts of energy on stage. He was a guy that made you feel completely and utterly psyched up when you were in that audience. and I'm so grateful for the fact that I got to see him. Sadly, never got to meet him, but I do want to extend my very, very sincerest condolences to anybody who may be listening who knew him, and considered him a friend or was in his family. He was a great man, and like the other fallen legends that we've spoken about this year, his legacy and the what he left behind is going to outlast all of us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really. I never listened to Sick of It All, so I'm not really a fan. But I see. I know people like fellow horseman Michael Scandato. I mean, he was friends with him, right? So, and it's other people I know were friends with him. So, definitely, it really sucks. I mean, it sucks. Somebody 59. He probably had, if he hadn't gotten cancer, he probably had a lot more music ahead of him and everything. And it's just, it's real unfortunate,
Cancer is a motherfucker, and it seems to be taking way too many people in the scene at the moment. Obviously, we spoke about Jennifer Finch not long ago, Jennifer Finch from L7, Thomas. And it's all happening to people in their late 50s.
Yeah, there's a lot of another friend of one of my friends is like 55 and got cancer. Like it's definitely hitting a lot of people in their 50s. It's like they're like, fuck.
Yeah,
go into your 40s, like that's not too far off, Yeah,
100%. But anyway, for anybody that's going like Karl, I didn't listen to Sick of It All. I'll give you 2 tracks to check out that might potentially change your mind on them. Off of Built to Last, listen to a song called Laughing Stock, and then listen to another one called Busted. Both of those are just prime manly hardcore, the way hardcore should sound.
Yeah, I didn't listen to him, not because not like being interested, just to be honest, I just didn't really know much about that. There were like those bands I saw the name and just never listened to them. You know what I mean? Like,
I understand.
So it's definitely I should definitely need to check them out.
Yeah. Well, if you dig old school hardcore, I mean they're definitely one of the premier bands. Okay, we are going to move on to some more music. Nail by Nail have put out a new single called Above the Black Tower. It says here, in the wake of their forthcoming Internal Inferno album release, due on September the 25th, black metal purveyors Nail by Nail now stream the first single entitled Above the Black Tower. Were you familiar with Nail by Nail's debut album, Embraced by Darkness, that came out last year?
Nope, I was not. I was them up there, a German band, but so.
Yeah, so when I first saw the single getting released, a lot of people were talking about them like they were, legends from yesteryear, but they aren't. They're a reasonably new band. The members of the band, they've played for some, reasonably prolific bands in some cases, not all. Tobias, their guitarist, he was a live guitarist for Imperium Decadence. And that's probably about as high profile as it gets.
Yeah, that's the only band in there that any of them played with that I'm familiar with. So yeah,
yeah. As far as the song is concerned, what do you think?
It's okay.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm compelled to listen to the album or not. I mean, I kind of like it. It's kind of okay. It's more like a 7 out of 10. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's kind of my feelings about it.
7 out of 10 is right.
Yeah.
I'm not. It doesn't deserve a thumbs down. But at the moment, I'm in that space where I'm like 2 minutes is maybe too short to form a balanced judgment of what I just heard. If I had to break down like every section of what we just listened to, I like the beginning of the song. I kind of like the part, the first vocal sequence. The second vocal sequence, where it almost becomes a little bit more like some of the modern quote-unquote emotional black metal. I don't like that kind of music. I don't like that style of black metal. I don't think it belongs in the scene, quite frankly. And I know it has a big following, but black metal to me has to have a harder edge. Maybe I would have been a little more lenient had we not listened to that new Terrestrial Hospice single on the same news rant. But if you hold those two side by side and you go, hey Jackie, what song do you want to listen to for the rest of your life? I don't think it's going to surprise anybody what I'm going to choose.
No, and that's the thing too. Like, I would need to really get a good view on the band. Of course, I'd have to listen at least to a little bit more of the album. If all the songs are like this, then it's a thumbs down. But if they have some songs that actually have like some aggression to it, like if this is like the kind of one song that's a bit more moody, then it could be different. But if that's the case, like, why would you put this out as your single? Like, so it gives me the feeling that maybe most of the album's like this, but who knows? It's hard to say. Like,
well, we have seen some very questionable single releases. Like, where the single comes out, you hear it, you go, this fucking stinks. And then, move on to hearing the full album. And like, okay, it's actually not too bad.
Yeah, you realize that the song is good in context of the album, but for some reason, it's totally not representative of the album. You know what I mean?
I was thinking about this after the conversation I had with Alan a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about how difficult it is for a new band to break into the scene. And initially, I hadn't, I think, appreciated that as much. And then I also had subsequently a band who reached out to me and asked me for some advice on how they can get noticed, and I kind of gave them a few ideas, but at the same time, it also made me stop and really think, with the amount of releases coming out. Like, you and I intentionally sit here and we listen to new music, whether we know the band or not. So we're giving everybody, not everybody, but we're giving a lot of bands a chance that otherwise we probably wouldn't, because we're in this format, this self-created format where we're induced to do so. But for the average band, new band, given the amount of music getting released, fucking hell, man! Like, how does a band like Nail by Nail stand out? If you think just about stuff that's been released this year, and about the amount of time people have available on the average day to listen to music, I honestly don't know how a band like that could get more than about 10 people listening to them.
I don't know. That's the question. I guess, like, I'm not the best. I do search out new bands or new things, like, but at the same time, I am not, too proud to admit that a lot of the stuff I listen to when it comes to new albums is a lot of times the bands that I already know. But I do try to listen to new stuff. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, I might listen to something and go, yes, it's pretty good, and then I only listen to the album once or twice, and then I kind of forget about it, and then maybe I'll resurface because I added it. That's the good thing about having the big list I do of, like, everything from 2026, is that maybe I'll go through it and go, yeah, listen to that album a couple times. It's pretty good. I should give it another listen. You kind of have to do stuff like that because it's just so much that it's hard to remember everything,
I agree.
I forget bands that I really like. I put out an album. I go, oh man, the album came out like in January. Like I forgot.
It's very easy to lose track of stuff, and I actually have a spreadsheet where I've got all of my best ofs, going all the way back to 2022, and it's actually quite nice going back to it sometimes and going, man, I haven't listened to this album for a little while, and those are albums that I consider the best of the year. So what about something that's just kind of throwaway? If you hear a record and it's like, yeah, it's all right. I mean, that nail by nail to your point. Even if it sounded slightly more interesting than it does, will there ever be a reason for me to go back and listen to the whole thing when it gets released?
Probably not. No, I'm sorry. Yeah. 7 out of 10. We're not getting we're not like Jerry, we're not getting like CDs in the mail like for people to review it, so then he can give it a 7 out of 10, like
honestly, I'm glad I don't. I don't want to be in that situation ever again. When I was doing that for Chronicles of Chaos, I hated it because you never got to spend enough time with a record. When you got an album that you really, really liked, it was like, okay, I can listen to this 2 or 3 times and then I need to move on to the next thing to review it. If you want to do it properly. Now, again, we know many magazines don't, but
no.
Yeah, from my perspective, if I get something that I'm really into, I want to wear that album out the way that I used to when I was a young man.
Well, that's how I pick my top picks of the year. My top 20, 30 is 100% the stuff that I listen to the most, so.
We had a question from a higher-ranking member of the Legion named James Moore. He says, "What are your favorite 5? What are your 5 favorite and least favorite metal genres?" I don't know if I've got 5 favorites. I probably have more least favorites than I got favorites. 5 favorite. If I said 3 favorites: black metal, death metal, thrash metal. Least favorites: deathcore, metalcore, symphonic metal. Most forms of atmospheric black metal, unless it's like old school, Gehenna style atmospheric black metal, which I didn't even know if we would put them under atmospheric black metal. RABM, can't fucking stand that. I'd say those are the 5 that I hate the most. I can't stand power metal either, and the other thing that I can't stand is fucking complete garbage Slatin metal like Dogma. So there's 7. What would you put in your list?
Let's see. So favorite genres, I'd say my favorite genres are black metal, doom metal, death metal, and then goth metal stuff like Typo and Paradise Lost and all those kind of things.
I'll round out mine doom and like goth metal stuff.
Yeah, and then they kind of combine into one bigger genre in a lot of ways, but that would definitely be up there. If I talk about stuff I listen to almost the most, it's probably that genre because I listen to Paradise Lost almost every day. But and then least favorite, I would say I really RABM would probably be my least favorite. Yeah, they can suck a gigantic donkey cock, and then
You mean you're not cranking that new agriculture record?
Fuck no. Ecstatic black metal. Yeah, fuck that. And then I don't like that. I really don't like you said, that kind of atmospheric black metal, but like the kind of fake atmospheric where it's just like somebody writing like some lazy riff with like some crappy keyboards over it,
that's the kind that I mean. I would call it emotional black metal. It's music written by men who can only lift fucking Xbox controllers, and don't watch violent sports. They just, I don't know, they're like emo kids that got into black metal because emo became too trendy. But in their heart of hearts, they're still fucking emo wimps, and thus not people that I would want to have anything to do with whatsoever in my day-to-day life.
Yeah, I don't need that in my black metal. And I even like some of the old emo stuff, but I like it for its own thing. I don't want it black metal. you can stay out of black metal. What else do I not like? I really dislike most forms of prog metal. Like I don't like the very few exceptions, you know. Usually only if you actually write good songs. For the most part, I don't like prog metal. I hate a lot of that kind of stuff. I hate like the gent and all that kind of bullshit. I don't like deathcore. Yeah, I guess those would be my top ones. Because I like, well, it's like power metal, for example. I like old power metal from like the 80s, you know, like people would even consider like Sanctuary, you know, old school power metal. I don't like newer stuff like Dragon Force or some bullshit like that where it's like, you know, like that kind of dumb shit, you know, but I do like some old power metal stuff. Halloween, things like that. So I can't put that on my list, but yeah, I think those would be those are my big ones, you know.
Well, on the topic of favorite genres, Bay Area thrash metal veterans Forbidden are pleased to present a brand new single entitled Cyclops. The latter will appear on the group's next studio album, cuttingly entitled Forbidden, and that is set to land in stores on October the 23rd, 2026. Well, if you were not completely put off by the garbled mess you just heard, that album gets released, like I said earlier, on October the 23rd through Black to Black Records. Once again, for reference, my favorite Forbidden albums, and albums I consider to be masterful: Forbidden Evil from 1988, absolutely sensational. Twisted Into Form, brilliant. I loved Green, that came out in 1997, even though I know that it wasn't well received and a lot of Forbidden fans hate it, but I really like it. And I really, really loved Omega Wave that they put out in 2010. Their last album prior to this I've got to say, I fucking hated. I thought I thought the 2 minutes of that song were total dog shit.
I have a question, like, so, I mean, obviously, like, StreamYard, it makes this stuff sound weird. Were the vocals, like, really, really, really loud? Like, louder than everything else?
They are quite loud.
Yeah, like, and the guitar's real teeny, like, kind of crappy sounding, and the vocals are super loud, like... So
the guitar sounded okay, but just the song itself is just... It's
not good.
All over the place. No.
Yeah, it's not good. Not good. I mean, I like the first album, like Forbidden Evil. That's the first album. That album is really sick. I mean, that's one of the big underrated classics of 80s thrash, you know. But I can't say I've listened to anything outside. I've only listened to that first album, so I've never listened to anything else.
Well,
Is that the first album?
We'll, yeah, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll just very quickly, so people can have it fresh in their minds, and they can understand what we're if they're not familiar with the record, they can understand what we are comparing it to. My favorite song off of the first record, Forbidden Evil. This is a track called "Feel No Pain." I'll give you 2 minutes worth of that, and then you tell me whether or not this new song can hold a candle to what you're about to hear. Now that is fucking brilliant. That's what manly thrash metal sounds like. What we heard before, total nonsense.
Yeah. That album, and I have listened to Twisted Into Form as well. That's a really good album too. Like,
yeah, great record.
I mean, it's more evil. And I thought Forbidden to, like, particularly vocally, brought in a pretty strong hardcore influence, but then the music's still pretty evil sounding, you know.
Mm.
I don't know. To me, thrash needs to be more evil. A lot of those bands, like Sacrifice, for example, like, I kind of get off the train after Infernal Torment because I just like how it's evil and satanic and, you know, kind of like proto black metal, and then after that they started getting more technical and they started writing about politics and stuff, and, you know, I look at it as like the Injustice for All ism, you know, around 89 or so, all the bands suddenly wanted to be like Injustice for All and started giving up writing about Satan, you know, and that's just doesn't do it for me. You know?
Well, okay, maybe this is a good one for us to wrap up with before we move on to the Swirly of the Week. I don't know whether you've checked out this band yet, but I did play them on a news rant a couple of weeks ago. They're a thrash metal band out of Finland called Revered, and they are putting out an album imminently called Enter the Realm of Fire. They've actually put out this week a third single off that record called Path of Illusions. I'll let you try this one on for size, and you tell me what you think.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like speed metal, more like kind of, which is I like that. I'm not sure about the vocals yet. I think I need to listen to more songs. Like I need to listen to the band. I also need to listen to it through something that's on StreamYard.
Yeah,
because I can't tell if I like the vocals or not. You know what I mean? Like a part of me's kind of like I'm not sure. I have to, I have to. I'm interested to give them more of a listen. I just, like when you listen to something, like I don't know if I like the vocals or not. Like part of me, like I like some parts of it. So it might be growing me. You know what I mean? That's kind of feel.
Yeah,
I like the riffs and stuff. So
yeah. No, I get where you're coming from. I really dig it. I would say the previous single that we listened to on the show, Moonless Night, I thought was a bit better than the one that we just heard now. But I mean, this is their debut record, and so far, I'm pretty excited to hear what the whole thing is going to sound like.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious.
On that note, let's step up to the porcelain bowl of reckoning, because this is the Swirly of the week.
No. Oh, you like?
So this week's Swirly is going to be a short one, in part because this fucking moron basically swirls himself. So I'm sharing a screen grab here submitted by a lieutenant general within the Legion named Kelu666. The donkey in question is a sniveling worm named Dylan Gemmel. He writes on, I would assume, a Facebook group, I went to a metal/black metal festival in Norway last year and made sure to Google all the bands to make sure I didn't walk out with merch that attracted friends I'm not interested in making. Ha ha. I also heard a guy with a huge European accent complain that his wife won't let him wear bosom shirts. This was during a black metal Sights Day tour. It was quite literally the funniest soundbite in history, and nobody was recording. Now, I mean, don't know what the fuck the metal scene has come to, where we are pre-Googling bands just in case we don't accidentally buy a T-shirt, that is going to attract the wrong kind of attention. Notwithstanding the fact that I've yet to see somebody walk around, including me, walk around with a Philosophem T-shirt, and some fucking dude wearing a clan hood or, a swastika on his chest comes over and taps you on the shoulder and says, hey, you want to be friends? so Dylan,
I don't know what this guy's thinking. Yeah,
is a fucking low testosterone geek who needs to be tombstone pile drived right into that toilet and held there until he stops kicking. And then, this dude whose wife won't let him wear a bosom shirt. What kind of fucking weakling soy behavior is that?
Yeah.
Like, since when do you let your wife or your girlfriend dictate to you what you can wear in public? I mean, if you're not a grown man who's into wearing diapers, besides that, if you're wearing a fucking, a pair of trousers, a T-shirt, and some fucking proper shoes, as far as I'm concerned, butt out.
Well, yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's kind of guy who has probably replaced his mother with his wife, That's what he's done. He's got to dress him for it, put out his outfits for him,
1,000%.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I'm afraid Dylan and whoever this guy is whose wife tells him what he's allowed to wear, both of you two turds are getting frog marched up to the porcelain bowl of justice. And like I said before, the sentence this week is a tombstone pile driver head first for each of you into whatever darkness, dankness, and stankness is waiting for you within that porcelain bowl. And that, my friends, was your short but sweet Swirly of the Week.
I do have a slight addendum to our Swirly, because our friend Jens from sent me a message about this festival he went to in Denmark, and he said there were guys wearing tutus.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like...
What was the festival?
Yeah, let me pull up the thing. Metal Magic Festival.
Jesus, so it's not even like because you might consider that kind of behavior not acceptable, but not surprising at something like Roskilde Festival.
Yeah, there was like people in ballet guys in ballet skirts, blowing bubbles in the air, people fencing with like sword, like balloon swords.
Fuck is wrong with you?
So there's a secondary Swirly to all you people. Anybody who's out at a metal festival doing that stuff, get a Swirly.
Can't spare those dorks from the day. Dude, it was always an absolute blast talking to you. Thank you very much for coming on. Guys, make sure you check out that Wintersorg record. Not Wintersorg, sorry, the Vinterland record. Also, make sure you check out my 2 premieres on the Sphere. Remember, of course, you can go on to intothenecrosphere.com where you can find show playlists, everything that we listened to and discussed on the news rant, plus everything else that I featured on the podcast. Thank you very, very much to every single member of the Legion if you stuck around until the very end, and whatever it is that you are doing and wherever it is that you are, stay safe, stay healthy. I'll see you bad motherfuckers again next week.
Another moderate down to the swatch. The baddest